Well, I'm out here in my favourite little review spot, and I've got with me the NightFox Vulpes. This is the first night vision spotter that I've ever had that's got an incorporated rangefinder. Before, I was using the night sight rangefinder, and that only really works with night sight units and if you've got the correct mount, and I don't have any night sight units or mounts anymore, so I was just like duct taping it to the side of my scope and just trying to line it up like that, but it didn't really work. So yeah, this should hopefully make my life a lot easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to jump straight into the footage of what I got when I was out pest controlling for rats, and just tell you a little bit about how I found it performed. So I just start off by doing a little bit of scanning, getting a feel for it, and very quickly I spot this rat quite close. I wasn't sure on the range, so as you can see there, I lays it and it's about 10 or 15 yards, I can't quite remember. So I used the new scope mate. As you can see, really clear picture from that. Pin the crosshairs on his head, pull the trigger, and take it with a nice headshot, and it's just kicking around there from nerves. Soon spot another one with the Vulpes. This footage is taken straight off that unit. Again, lays it, it's about 25 yards, and I take it with a standing supported shot. Hit it with a headshot, he goes in, and I'm not sure if it's dead, so I just keep having a look, and he soon pops out and again starts kicking from nerves. A rat underneath the cattle troughs here. This is standing unsupported, about 30-35 yards. Hit him a little bit further back than I wanted to, but it did the job, and again he just kicks around for a bit. Looking through the spotter, you've got far more field of view. You can see so much more than if you were just using the scope mate to try and spot rats. If you were doing that, you'd probably lose a lot of opportunities just because you couldn't see it as much. The scope mate has the ability to film night vision in slow-mo, so that was filmed at 60 frames per second. Took him with a really nice headshot, and there's the slow-mo there. So this is the one that I saw spotted on this bag here with the NightFox, and lased it at 25 yards. Used that shed over there as a rest, I don't know if you can see that, and then took it with a really clean headshot, but without knowing the exact range it would have been really hard to place that pellet where I did. So there's rats everywhere here. I know the range is about 35-40 yards, and I take this one seated, supported. You can see the pellet flying through the air there. It's never a good idea to touch rats with the bare hands, so I use my Leatherman here just to check the shot placement. Now this one, I wanted to use this bin as a bit of cover, so I lays it and then lays the rat and then try and work out how far away I'd be once I get to it. And then check the rat's still there. Thankfully it is. Relays it, and I've got a really nice steady rest, and that was taken at 120 frames per second, so really nice slow motion there, perfect headshot. Really nice shot there. This one standing unsupported. The Vulpes retails at $299. There'll be a link in the description if you just follow that, and you can buy it straight off Amazon there. Because I upped the frame rate to 120 frames per second. It's a little bit darker now, so not quite as clear footage, but you do get that extra slow motion. This one's a little bit further, about 35 yards, and hit him with a headshot. So quite a good day there. I definitely would not have had that many without the NightFox rangefinder. Yeah, worked wonders. I only missed 2, which is pretty happy with that. I hit quite a few more, well, killed quite a few more, but then when I came back round to collect them, other rats had dragged them off, and the bodies were no longer there. So yeah, good day. Probably had 10 or 12 in total. Happy with that. So as you can see, had a great night then. Probably would not have had anywhere near as many rats as I would have done without the Vulpes. Just being able to spot and then instantly range find, to give you an idea of what aim point to use on your scope, is just invaluable really. I did wear this one around my neck most of the time. I just found it was just easier to use that way. I took it in my jacket, so when I was bending over, it wasn't sort of swinging in the way. Yeah, I shot really well that night. I think I only missed maybe 1 or 2, and that is largely down to this, because when you're spotting a rat through a scope, a night vision scope, or even just a 2D night vision screen like this without the rangefinder, you've got no way of telling how far away it is. You are just guessing just roughly on the size of the rat. Maybe if you know the landmarks where you're shooting, for instance in that cattle farm that I was at just now, I had a rough idea of how far away the feeders were, but even so, it wasn't anywhere near as easy as it is with this, just guessing your ranges. So yeah, this really did the job well. It was nice and light, nice and grippy. When my hands got cold, like they are a bit now as well, there's no chance of sort of dropping it, because it is a very nice ergonomic feel. It took a little bit of getting used to where the buttons were, as it always does. Obviously when you're shooting in complete darkness like we do when we're using night vision, you have got to sort of play around and get used to where the buttons are laid out. You don't really want to be turning on a torch and looking at what buttons are where, because that kind of defeats the point of using night vision. It gives you position away. But once I figured that out, it was really good. So the price is about £100 more than the Corsac, and that is because of the rangefinder. You're normally looking at paying £100 for a rangefinder anyway, so that shouldn't really be too much of an issue. And the fact that you can't really get another rangefinder that works this well at night, I think it's well worth the money. The rangefinder is just here at the top. You got focus on the front, same as you do with all the normal NightFox products. Really easy to use, nice soft rubber, lots of grip on there. The buttons are pretty much the same, apart from you've got the extra range finding one there. When I recorded through this, you could see the laser pinging away. I think it would be quite good to have the option of recording the screen, so the digital information that's being relayed to me as well, because then I could lay something, and if it sort of screen recorded it, then you'd be able to see the exact range and what I'm seeing. But as it is, what I'll do is I'll put the camera in here just to give you an idea of what I'm seeing. So it's just a little square, like a little crosshair sort of thing, and you put it on whatever you're ranging, and that gives you the distance. You can change it from meters to yards, as you can with all rangefinders, and that's very easy to do just by going into the menu. The battery on this lasted ages. All that night, it didn't even go down 1 bar. So yeah, it's pretty much very similar to the Corsac. I'd like to say a little bit lighter. One thing I prefer about this than the Corsac is you can just charge the batteries directly into the unit. They just live in there. If you want to replace them, there is the option to take out that little screw and put new batteries in, if you're out for a long night. But like I say, for me, it lasted a good 2 or 3 hours without any issue at all. And yeah, really love it. This is definitely the one for me, for my purposes, and I'll probably be putting the other ones up for sale. Like I say, the previous models are ideal if the budget doesn't quite stretch to the Vulpes, but seeing as I've already got this, there's not really any point in me keeping the other ones. If you want to see the reviews to those, go into my channel, go into reviews, and you can watch all the other range of NightFox in there. If you think this will benefit you, and if you think you want one, there'll be more information on the website, I'm sure. I'll leave a link exactly to this unit in the description below. And yeah, don't hesitate to buy one, because I really rate it, and yeah, best unit they've made by a long shot. The next few videos will be some more reviews, maybe some hunts as well. I've got some thermal coming, all being well, and a new scope, and a couple of other bits and pieces, maybe a rifle. But I'm actually going away skiing again for the next 6 weeks, so might be a while for the next one, but hopefully in the summer we'll start banging the videos out again. So yeah, like I say, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share it, whatever. Enjoy your day.